And a big thank you once again to all of our supporters over at patreon.com/878survivor FM. All of our production managers, Shane Murphy, Tank Dazza, Hawks Hammer, Ebbet Daddy, and Cinnamon. Our producer, the one and only Red Freedom. And also a big shout out to all of our growing YouTube members at youtube.com/878survivor FM. Kenny Baker, King Alobar, Cinnamon, Jake is Zero Cool, Raymond Normoil, Marston P2, Matt Z, Darkwing, Michael, Melbourne's Adventures, Petawetty, and The Greedy Peasant. All of you are legends who help the show go on each and every week. Thank you all for your support, even just by watching or listening each week to the podcast or the spotlight. We hope you enjoy this week's show. And welcome to the first ever 87.8 Survivor FM Great Debate. Joining us tonight is the one and only Greedy Peasant representing the console plebs. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing? Good. How you going?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. We also have the one, the only Killbeans. How you doing, girlfriend?
I'm good. How are you?
I am not too bad, mate. Not too bad. The man of the moment, Mr. Minder. How you doing, buddy?
Hello.
The only man brave enough to have a webcam going with me.
Yeah,
And
no more secrets over here.
The
No more
one who
secrets.
started this whole fucking shit fight, the one, the only, it's Mike Doherty. How you doing, buddy?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Now,
Glad to
before
be
we
here
go any
finally.
further, I do have one announcement for you all that I must share with everyone. For the last 2+ years, you guys have had to put up with an absolute abomination of my face on camera. Look what I've got.
Oh shit!
I've got all my
Looking
teethy
good.
pegs again.
Yeah. Look at you, dude. Handsome
Mate,
fellow now.
I am so fucking happy. It didn't really bother me too much, but yeah, it was just, yeah, it's nice to actually be able to go out and not look like I'm from the inbred part of town, which I am actually from the inbred part of town. But yeah,
Classy inbred now.
at least I don't look so bad anymore. So yeah, I haven't put it on Twitter or anything like that because I wanted to reveal it live on stream with everyone. So yeah. DVA, the government department, finally got around to getting it going. So, yeah, very, very happy for it. Okay. We are all here because Mr. Mike Doherty, and really, you weren't the first person to start it, but you were
No,
the first
not at all.
person to formalize it and put something up on the feedback tracker about plate carriers and the ability to get one tap unconned from or with some of the higher caliber rifles, your 308s, your Mosins, and so on, from usually within about 200 meters on average range. Am I correct there?
I believe so, yeah.
Yep.
And the community reception to the post was fantastic. There was no drama. There was calm, level-headed opinions all round. It was great.
And staff from Bohemia didn't have to intervene at all and tell people to behave
No,
in the
not at all. No.
even on the feedback. Sorry for Mike's accent in advance. Yeah.
Don't apologise on my behalf. You can't fucking do that.
I can.
No, you can't. You don't
That's
own
partly
me.
why we've got
No,
Killbeans here.
it's-
Her being English as well, she'll probably understand Mike's verbal diarrhea better than the rest of us.
No, I will
Nice.
say though, like I know the accent's fucked up, but I try my best to make myself understandable. But if at any time I'm saying shit, you have no idea what's going on, just tell me. I'll explain it.
Just don't get excited, mate. Just don't get excited. When you Scots get excited, then we just sit there and everyone just goes, "What? Okay."
What do you say?
Yep.
Okay, so talk us through it, Mike.
Would you like me to open the feedback tracker post on
Yep.
the screen?
Yep, share
Right.
your screen and we'll pop it up and I'll let you go through your reasoning for your side of it.
Oh, shit. Give me a second to bring it up then.
And while you do that, I'm just going to quickly grab a drink.
Should be in here somewhere.
You didn't prepare this, Mike?
I didn't actually. No.
That's
Thought I would just wing it.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, I did the same thing with the camera. I sort of winged it.
Yeah, we know that.
Well, I'm here and you're not, so.
Well, I'm here as well. Just
No.
not with a camera on.
No, yeah. Well, or with the feedback tracker open. So.
Oh, I have the feedback tracker open now.
Okay. Well,
I think.
good
Is it
job.
working?
Good job.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Oh, Mike, I've got this for
tell
you
me
as
if you
well,
can see
mate.
it. Oh yes.
All right, true.
Finally, someone gets it. It's fucking brilliant. Honestly. Did you just laugh at me?
Go on. Read the feedback tracker, dude.
You can see this, yeah? Everyone can see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, this was some of the points that I made in it. I'm sure a lot of people have read it already, but weapons have very high health and shock damages. They kill players very fast, knock people unconscious very fast. The Mosin, Winchester, Blaze, CZ550 are all capable of defeating the best armor in the game, which is the plate carrier in vanilla, in just one shot within around 250 meters, like Boydie said. The assault rifles and everything else as well, just crazy high shock damages and health damages overall in vanilla. Just makes like a really one-tappy feeling in DayZ PvP that was the whole point of the Uncon changes so long ago, was to try and get rid of the one-taps and shit. But some of the points that I summed up was basically having very strong weapons like this, which are very easy to use, creates a narrow skill gap, meaning the extremely skilled players can be killed by extremely new players with just one sloppy shot. In turn, makes the game less replayable, less grindable, less learnable, and less rewarding. So what I mean by that, basically, is that some fucking idiot can just come on the game, find a Mosin and Berezino, and they don't need to be patient or skillful or wait for a good opportunity if they see like a really geared player. They just need to land that one shot on the biggest hitbox that character has, and he's going down in just one shot. I think that's a bit fucked up.
Okay, so we'll stop at the point one. We'll break it down by the 6 dot points you've got there with the issues. Now, myself and many others, now I've got no idea where Killbean sits on this. I've got no idea where Greedy Peasant sits on this. I've got a pretty good idea where you sit on this, Minder. You and Mike are quite similar, but
similar.
Some of us actually feel that that's one of the things that makes DayZ great. That no matter how good you are, like 99, like I watch you, Minder, and I watch Toprek quite a bit. You two, particularly when you're together, oh my god, it's fucking scary. You remind me of Deadly Slob and Ace's Fury back in the day. Those two were a team.
That's high praise. Those guys were fucking animals. Yeah,
they were fucking animals. And you two are the same. I've watched you guys in clips where you can destroy people all around you. But the beautiful thing for me with DayZ is that if you guys do make a mistake or I get incredibly lucky, I can come out of it. I don't want DayZ to be a game where the odds favour the guys who are just so damn good at the game. That's one of the things I've always loved about not just DayZ, but even Armour. That, I still remember my first time. Admittedly, it was with the Codemasters Operation Flashpoint, but I was stunned at just how hardcore this game was. There was very little, room for error. You made a mistake and you were punished hard for it. Greedy, what do you think on this topic, since we don't really know where you stand on it?
Well, I probably agree with you. As in that lucky hit, or that pick up the Mosin and has 3 ammos and ammunition in it, and you take out the gear player on the coast. Then, hey, what's the gear player doing on the coast? You know what I mean? You would put yourself in danger, I think, if you're doing that. But I do believe that it is a little bit too easy to take out a player, knock them down to half health, uncon them, rush them, and kill them, where you get surprised. I think it's I think that part of the mechanics is still need some work.
Now, I did
Very
watch
much so.
Tobrick's video on it, Minder, where he showed that there is still
Hmm.
dangers for you, even with the plate carrier, like you guys have it on your server, where it's not like you're basically advocating for something like Call of Duty, where you're basically healing within 10 seconds back to full health if you just sit and hide somewhere. Because I did watch his video, and I thought his video was a very, very good argument. I didn't agree with it, but I liked the way he structured it, where he showed that that battle he was having in Novo, and he got hit with the Mosin, and it basically took him down to not going uncon, but flashing red. Oh, sorry, red. And he was slow. It still impacted him. You want to elaborate?
I want to mention a specific moment because I noticed that he was wearing a stab vest and somehow he got hit to red health by getting shot in the stab vest. That is not at all intentional. Like the bullet should obviously go through a stab vest. Yeah. Just wanted to point that out, that part was not intentional. But yes, so I watched Tobe's video. I actually, some people in my stream mentioned it. It's like, hey, Tobe made this video about this topic that you've been quite vocal about recently. The thing that's been going on Twitter. Could you react to it? And I did. And some of the points that Tobe made is, him and I have discussed this at length. And
Yep.
the way we've set it up on our server, which I think prompts Mike to even make the post in the first place, because we've been running these sort of adjustments to weapon damages and armor for a couple of years now, and it actually makes it a very balanced experience. This isn't just a concept that we think of. This is a tried and tested and true way of running the server. And basically, the big changes that we've made is armor absorbs more shock, meaning if you get hit, the damage impact is not necessarily going to be very different. It's more so is that the shock is absorbed more. The reason for this is that, in my opinion, especially with how short the unconscious timers are in Vanilla DayZ right now, unconsciousness means death. People are right now and have been for a long time being conditioned is that when someone is unconscious, is that person is still a threat because these uncon timers are that short. If you look at, back before DayZ was in alpha stage, when you go unconscious, although not 100% intentional, there was some issues there with hit reg and all that stuff, but unconsciousness lasted longer. If someone is unconscious...
A long time. Like you could last 10, 20 minutes uncon.
Yeah, that's bugged. That had to do with messed up hit registry and all that stuff. Like, for example, I remember specifically, if you shot someone with a shotgun in the arm, the actual pellet that would hit the arm would register like 6, 7, 8 times. This is why these uncon timers were so ridiculous. But back in the day, unconsciousness was actually, when you think about it, like how unconsciousness got introduced into the game, it was a way of creating that interaction with the player. Otherwise, if you have unconsciousness in the game and then the majority of the player base finishes you anyway, the vast majority, you're kind of like missing the boat on what the unconsciousness got brought into DayZ for in the first place, is to actually have a potential harmless opponent that you can then interact with. That was the whole point of unconsciousness. Now, unconscious timers are very short. You get hit in the chest with a Mosin, you wake up after like 8 seconds, right? For the vast majority of the time, there is not enough time for you to actually run up, make sure you take away the gun, tie the person up, and then control the situation, because the unconscious timers are that short. So the results of this being like this for a couple of years, ever since, there has been some adjustments in the uncon timers. The uncon timers used to be much shorter, but I still think they're too short. Is now the player base, you have conditioned the player base to see someone that is unconscious as still a threat. And if you get knocked unconscious now, the vast majority of times, like I'm talking like 90, 95%, you just get finished off anyway, because the player base thinks, oh, that guy's going to wake up anyway. He's still a threat. Right.
So where I would come back from here is that Killbeans, what do you think about the solution being proposed is to make the armor more protective, whereas I would think that the better option would be to publicly make the uncon timer maybe a bit longer. I know that what Mind is saying about the issue with a lot of people have become conditioned, but we never used to be like that. Yeah, for sure, there were some people who played the KOS game Kill Beans, but there are others who do want to be able to knock someone, go up, tie them up. You know, Minder, I've seen you do that. I've seen many people do that. But what do you think, Kill Beans?
I agree with Minder. The uncon thing for me is it is too the time is too short, and very inconsistent as well. You can, like, the other week I had a fight with someone. I was a complete fresh spawn. I had absolutely no weapons at all. He shot me with a Glock, emptied the whole clip into me, and I was still alive, standing. We eventually knocked each other unconscious. I woke up before him and finished him off. And to me, that didn't make any sense because I was just the fresh spawn. He had a plate carrier on, he had a Mosin, a Glock, and he was throwing all kinds at me, and I was up before him from the
But
unconscious
do you
state,
know
which
what
didn't
his
make
health
any
was
sense to me.
beforehand?
You what?
Do you know what his health was beforehand? Was he maybe
He was
already injured or?
No, he was definitely full health because he was talking to me and we were going back and forth with one another before.
Health has no relation to shock anyway. It's completely separate.
When I say health, I mean health and shock and or blood and shock and all the rest of it together. But yeah, Mike, we'll throw it over to you now, mate. What's your feedback so far?
I definitely agree with what Minder's saying on that, the short uncon times and stuff. This was something that we changed again on the Karma Crew servers when we saw that the devs made them so short in the first place, because the first thing we thought of was like, what's the point? You know, you knock someone out and it makes me wonder what the point in the unconscious mechanic is when you go uncon and you're back up again like 7 or 8 seconds later. Because
I 100%
like Minder
agree
said,
on the
you
uncon
can't,
timer. Because how long is it? It's pretty much a set time, isn't it?
No, it's per weapon. It's per weapon. You know, the heavier calibers are longer. So I think, like for example, pistol, you wake up much faster than, let's say, if you get knocked on. That's kind of funny. Like if you knock someone unconscious with fists, the unconsciousness time is much longer than when you knock someone out with, let's say, a Glock. This is why it makes sense for Kill Beans to wake up sooner, because it is just by design that way. Because I feel like the devs have sort of made it in a way where they sort of started out from a scenario of using the heaviest caliber and sort of just like making the rest before it, like the lower caliber rounds, actually have less unconscious time. But in turn, that sort of diminishes the point of unconsciousness. You know, I think you know that was the biggest change that we've made, is that we made unconscious, we made armor absorb more shock, and that fixed a lot. We made the uncon timers about twice as long as it is right now. That actually helps a lot, and we actually made it so arms and legs don't have as much of a shock impact and making you unconscious. Reason for this is simply because if you know, when you break your legs in DayZ, you go unconscious, and then what's the point of breaking your legs? The whole point of breaking your legs is that you have your movement limited. Like I think one of the coolest situations that can happen in DayZ is you're running around or you're standing along, and all of a sudden, boom, shot comes in, you're on your ass. You've got your legs broken. You now have a few options. You can try and get into crawl into cover as quickly as you can, or you can stand up, try and look for the shooter while he's racking another shot, and try and take him out. But all of that does not exist if the player gets knocked uncon anyway. And like we just talked, there are short uncon timers. What's going to happen when you're in the open field, you get your legs broken, and you're uncon? Are you going to tell me that the guy is going to come out of cover, run into the open field, and then run at you only for halfway through you to wake up, be able to take a second shot? Like, no, that's never going to happen.
Now, on that point, you're talking about running out in the open, and this is something that I've come back at a few times with people, that pretty much if you're running out in the open, that's on you. If you get dropped in bushes, there's a good chance that person might not, you know, whether it be because of the lovely armor bulletproof bushes that you have in DayZ, but you're going to be harder to be seen. But when you're running out in the open, if someone's lucky enough to get that shot on you, and yes, I get the argument about, you know, accuracy, aim for the legs or aim for the head, but the chest is the main area that most people will aim for. And if I'm taking the risk, like the SVD, the SLR are a little bit of a outlier on this one because they're high capacity mag semi-auto, even though the SVD is only a 10 rounder. But if you're good enough to make that shot with the bolties that, you know, the Mosin, the Winchester and so on.
But that's not a hard shot to make, though.
Yeah,
For
it's
you.
No.
And that's
Well,
something
not.
that
The
you guys
majority
forget
of
about.
players, though.
For so many, you guys are looking at it from, you play a lot of PvP. Mind you, you've changed a bit of late. I did notice, you know, you were trying not to be so KOS-y, and I applaud you for that, by the way. It was great to see you step out of your comfort zone and go more for trying to interact first. But you guys have got thousands of hours up playing predominantly a more action-based style. Not so much you, Minder, because, you know, you've always been big on the RP sort of stuff as well. You know, I remember your great Band of Brothers series back in the day as well. It's not just about PvP for you. But for someone like Taupe, as much as he can have fun, the guys are fucking.
No, but Taupe is the exception. Like Taupe is probably the best player that I know in the DayZ community.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not just
smoke.
easy for him. It's not just easy for him to land a Mosin shot. It is easy for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Anyone
it's
that is slightly decent, like even
Yeah.
slightly decent at playing video games with a mouse and keyboard, can hit Mosin shots on chests all fucking day. It is not like I don't think it's that the game
On a
should
player
be
running
that
left to right.
anyone can be good at the game, even if you suck at the game. I feel like that is sort of like mentality is like now we're going to dumb down the game for the sake of everyone being inclusive into, you know, for the sake of like hardcore. But in reality, like I think it's fair that if you want to get good at the game, get good at the game. Get, you know, play it a lot, practice it a lot. I mean, I think skill in video games should be learned. Like you need to become good at the game. And right now, it is super easy to land a chest shot on anyone with a Mosin because it is a huge target. And you know, I think it actually adds makes a lot more sense from a gameplay perspective. If you have like a plate carrier. Plate carrier on its own is 10 kilograms, right? That is a huge chunk of your stamina that's already gone. And the penalty for that is you get protection, but you don't really get protection because you can get knocked down in one shot anyway. It will make the difference against SMGs and to a much lesser degree, but slightly the ARs as well. But under 250 meters, you get shot by a Winchester Mosin, you go Uncon anyway. So it doesn't really protect you, but the stamina penalty is huge. And then in the meantime, I feel like gear should matter. Like if you have someone is wearing a plate carrier and the biggest target is their chest, you as a player that has the Mosin should then have to overcome the protection that he has by hitting a smaller target. For example, what I do, if I see a fully geared squad, 3, 4, whatever, and they're all plates, big guns, and it happens a lot on our servers because we have base buildings, so people tend to have a little bit more gear on our servers. The first shot I go for is not someone's chest, because I know that they don't go Uncon, and I know is that they will run away with yellow health. The first thing I do is go for a leg shot. Now, a leg shot is harder to hit, but it does kill the mobility of a player. And if the headshot is an option and the guy's standing still, then obviously I go for that because that takes him out of the equation straight away. But I feel like that putting gameplay, if you look at it from a gameplay's perspective, it makes sense is that if someone has the heaviest armor possible to get in the game, that shooting that part that is the biggest target of that character is not going to reward you with the most amount of effectiveness.
Okay,
It is either a headshot, which is hard to hit, and then a leg shot to kill the mobility, which makes the follow-up shot super easy.
I want to mention something. I'm seeing some good comments in chat. The Most Epic Pro Gamer, love that name, by the way. You better live up to that title. We'll be checking your channel out later. But yeah, PvP servers have so many players who land shots 24/7. The big thing there, though, is you're talking about PvP servers. So PvP servers are a bit of an outlier in that.
I disagree.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think that is two camps as much as you make it out to be. I think this is a lot more interlinked. If you look at a lot of the people that make content in DayZ, a lot of them play on servers that are not PvP servers. And I'd argue is that the servers we have has a lot of PvP in it, but it's not necessarily a PvP server.
Greedy, talk about it from console perspective, mate. What's it like for you guys over there?
So in the way you guys combat it, where you can adjust the settings and things like that, we don't have those options. So where in my server, I have a hardcore server where a lot of gear players have to run through spawn towns to get to certain points to pick up things. The way I combated that is how I tiered my loot system. So in those spawn towns, you can get pistols, small caliber stuff, so the freshie can still arm themselves, but it is harder for them to take out someone who's
exactly
plate carrier, helmet, and stuff like that. So that's how we combated.
How it should be.
Yeah, that's how we combated the that one shot uncon. Or the person grabbing the double barrel, bang bang, I've got all your gear and I'm off.
And that is what kind of I mean by in this first point where it said it makes the game less replayable as well, because if you boot up the game and you know that every life that you have, the gear doesn't matter, like there's no real incentive to go and get the best gear because some guy that just spawned in Berezino can run up to the hunting cabin, grab a Mosin, and then just run up and one-tap you, and all those like hours that you spent looting are for no reason. You don't really feel the drive to get all the best gear that you can. There's no real point.
Yeah, I've felt myself started to play like that a little bit. Like, I'm pretty good at like the whole melee fighting, so for me, I'll just wait until the gear dudes come to the spawn town, and I'll just take them all out with my fist or a crowbar, and then just walk off with all the stuff.
I do think that is
issue more the availability of these weapons, as opposed to, because the other thing for me is that the Mosin is pretty much, when you think of DayZ, the Mosin is one of the most iconic weapons of the game. Yeah, it was one of the few weapons we had when Standalone first came out. I think we had like the Mosin, the M4. I think we had the AKM. But the Mosin was the go-to sniper, you know, the old long-range scope that we had back in the day. And it was the big badass rifle of the game at the time. Now, I know that the game's moved on from that, and I might be living in, you know, well, I've been accused of this a lot of times. I do live in the past a lot. When you get to my age, you look back at those years and you go, oh, God, I was such a young whippersnapper then. But, yeah, it's... I'm loath to see, because we're talking about the Mosin in particular, because it's one of the most common rifles. You know, your Winchesters, your Blazers, your Tundras, all the rest of them, they're a little bit less common. The Mosin is a much more common weapon. Is that part of the problem, that it's just too easy of a weapon to find, particularly around the coastal area?
It's definitely part of the problem. Like you can see it in point number 4 that I made in the feedback tracker was about the CLE and how all these snipers are really just common to find. And I even saw it on Minder's stream yesterday. He was playing official servers this week, and he looks like one castle, and I think there was like 2 or 3 of these really high-end rifles. And it definitely does, if you reduce those rifles, which the devs have done in 1.19, which is great, it helps the issue, but I don't think that alone is enough to fix it.
One thing that I've wondered about is the weapon inertia. It sucks in DayZ. They've just added player inertia, which is going to make it even harder for players who are caught out in the open and being shot at by someone, because it's not going to be so easy to, you know, the old serpentine. It's not as easy as it used to be back in the day.
I think that's a good thing, by the way. I do think is that right now in DayZ is like, if you look at, so when you say, like, if you look at the actual chads in the DayZ community, like the guys that like just literally make clips on YouTube, right? Montages of kills in DayZ. Yeah. If you see those guys move in the game, you're literally looking at, because I've had a few situations where I ran into someone like that. I literally just like in awe just looked at the screen. It's like, what is this guy doing? You see,
yeah,
you see him go like, and this used to be a bigger thing back in the day. And when 063 launched, initially inertia was part of the changes to the game, but they made it super aggressive, like way more aggressive than it is now, and way more aggressive than even PUBG when they introduced it. But I think it's a good thing that they bring it back. I would say from vanilla, it is still a little bit heavy-handed, but I definitely think it will improve the game a lot adding this, because it makes it so. I mean, I literally see people just just walk in the middle of the field, knowing that they can just serpentine like a mofo if the first shots comes flying, you know. And I think that's kind of a bit.
See, what I think, Kill Beans, is that we need better weapon inertia depending on the weapon. For those of you who've used guns IRL, particularly if you've used like the assault rifles, pistols, and things like that, I would really love to see more inertia added to the actual weapon, so that someone running with a Mosin isn't able to just quickly see someone and then just bang up and they're snapped on. Those big rifles, if you've ever fired them, particularly firing from a standing position, is fucking hard. It is not an easy thing to do, even when you're a trained military person. It takes years and years of practice to get good with those sorts of rifles. What have you got here?
Do you mind if I show you a clip?
Go for it. Make sure
Can
you
you
turn
see this on the stream?
Yep.
You're gonna show Bodhi's clip?
No, not Boydie's clip. No. Let me find it.
What
Yeah,
clip
this is
of
what
me
you were
have you
talking
got?
about with the Mosin. Maybe we'll show that. We'll show that at the end if you like. It was
We'll
something
show.
that-
Yeah. Oh,
something-
that's
something-
gonna be good.
I'm excited.
Something-
Is this going to be a roast?
A little bit of a
Well,
roast, yeah.
I feel like
It
you
wasn't
roasted yourself
for the
a little
record
bit.
though. Someone sent it to me. I didn't go looking for it, but I just thought it was funny. But anyway, this is like the
Yeah,
this
see,
was
that's
just today I
ridiculous.
recorded this on offline mode. I couldn't obviously get any players, so I was just using Zeds. But this is just to show what we mean by like anyone who's decent with a mouse and keyboard. Of course, like it is harder for some people, but generally the way the weapons can be handled in DayZ is just nuts. Like the game shouldn't allow you to be sprinting, crouch, ADS, hold breath, and quickscope all within the same
This
second.
is
Like,
kind
this-
of
what's this?
where I'm going. Just pause it for a sec. So this is where I'm kind of going, is that I don't think that changes to the armor or the weapon damage is the right move. I think changes to how the weapons are used. These long rifles, like someone saying in chat, PU is dog shit at anything beyond 200 meters, unless you're pretty much being what I know some people hate, but the camper. These weapons should be, if you're prepared to sit in one spot, and as much as it's a sucky play style, camping is a valid play style. Not that many of us like to do it, but there are people who do it. But you shouldn't be able to just run around with a Mosin or a Blaze, and if someone said it there. This is the wrong platform for that boy. The clip might go against the YouTube guidelines. God help me, what is this clip? Oh God! But no, someone said it there. Takes me about 5 seconds to range and take my shot. Pretty simple. Whereas IRL, if you go to the range, you watch these guys who are shooting at long ranges, and they're lining it up, and they've got their weapon on sandbags and bloody on supports and all the rest of it to hit these long range shots. That's the big issue I see for these rifles, is that you don't really want to be running around with a Mosin as your go-to weapon, because unless you're prepared to saw it off, which is sacrilege in my eyes, but it's not a run and gun weapon. Yes, it's been used as that in the past, but we've got much better weapons now. I'd much rather have a semi-auto or an auto that I could keep on putting repeated shots down, because most of the time, you don't hit with every shot you fire. So that's what I think is more the problem, is the actual way that the weapons are able to be used, because that is just insane, being able to snap up like that and just fire that quickly. That's ridiculous. It's just not how they work. And I know the realism argument is annoying, but that's a big one for me.
I think that I agree is that it is too easy to just quick scope in DayZ. I feel like DayZ is not the game for that, and it also makes it just a little bit too easy and a little bit too confident. Just stand in the middle of the field and just deal with the problem. people that are really good, like Taupe, for example. Like when it comes to and don't worry, I give Taupe plenty of shit as well, but I do have credit where credit is due. The guy, when he is in a situation, can purely because of aim can get out of situations that he shouldn't, simply because he can zoom in, drag the gun across, and hit the shot with the bolt action.
Yeah.
For the vast majority of the time.
Hmm.
And although that looks dope, but I feel like that is just too arcadey in Daisy. I feel like the same way with the movement, the devs have addressed that now. I feel like it would make more sense if you would have it so the Mosin, if you hold breath, it's not like and it's like boom, dead on. It takes like a couple of seconds, like and then it's on target, right?
Scale Speed has got a really good
Yeah.
point there in chat, if you guys haven't seen it. And that's one that I haven't really considered. Why bother going to the gas zones for an M4 if a Mosin will take out a geared player? If you remove the main reasons for players to follow the gameplay loop, which could be to get better equipment so you can survive longer, the game will suffer.
Yeah.
And I see what he's saying there. It's like, why does someone like Taupe need to bother going to a gas zone when he can turn the Mosin into a close range weapon that can destroy almost anyone?
Well, he gives me a lot of shit because on our servers, like the bolt actions on our servers are way, way, way more rare. So he always gives me shit for one, not being able to find a Mosin, which is funny because I find a Mosin quite often because it spawns all over, but I basically try not to go to the very busy visited area. But then he gives me shit for not having a PU. So in Vanilla Daisy, I was playing official yesterday. I found a Winchester, 2 Blazes, and 2 Mosins fairly easily on my first run with 2 PU scopes and 2 hunting scopes, or 3 even, with ammo to be plentiful. Obviously, when you don't really have, like, especially since how strong these guns are, the bolt actions are everything in Daisy, and they're super common. And I feel like that sort of, there's no real like value to the loot right now. I think Greedy Peasant made a good point. It's like if you play official right now, what you find is you barely find any real stuff in spawn town. So maybe if you go to like a police station, you maybe get lucky to find a pistol, but then you have to find a magazine and you're chambering rounds and all that stuff. But in the meantime, when you get just a slightly more inland, and then all of a sudden you find Mosins, you find Winchesters, you find AKs all over the place. I think Vanilla has like 13 AK spawning, 13 AKMs or something like that. Just completely out of control, and there's no like gradual buildup of loot, which I think is the point of Daisy. You'd want to draw the player base away from the coast, make it so gear matters, so not 60% of the player base spends on the coast like Killbeans just poning geared dudes with fists, right? Yeah, have people want to be able to spawn in and then immediately get away from the coast. What that also creates is just a more diverse set of encounters you're going to run into. Because if the player base is spread out across the entire map, and we can even get into the topic of like how players should spawn in and all that, and the availability of food, et cetera, et cetera. But if you have the player base spread out across the entire map, all of a sudden you're going to get encounters in situations and in locations, more importantly, you've never been in before. And I think that is the beauty of Daisy, and that's why I still think, personally, Chernarus is the best map ever made, is because every single point you go to has a reason to go to it. Like even West Evac has been made to be tier 4, like Tissy. You have all the way Kamenka like the Kamenka military checkpoint is all the way edge of the map, and then up top you have Svet, and then all the way down towards Tissy and Kamensk. It basically invites the player to get across the entire map, and in doing so, having a very diverse set of locations to play the game in. Basically, that's what a big map is great in. Except for the fact that if you don't make gear worthwhile getting, and then you don't really want to travel across the map, you're defeating the whole point of having a big map.
This was something that I brought up in the Discord earlier as well, is that having the damages for the majority of weapons be so high as they are right now, it kind of muddles the gap between mid-tier loot and high-tier loot. Like the SKS, for example, was always like a good mid-tier weapon. I think it was always tier 2 in the past. I don't know exactly how it spawns right now, but the SKS right now in vanilla is just, it's really good. It's fucking, like what is it, 110 damage roughly for a 762x39, something like that. Of an
Semi-auto,
SKS.
yeah.
That's the same as the SVD used to be back in 1.11, for example. So you find an SKS in a tier 2 zone, and it should be a mid-tier weapon, but it's not anymore. It's busted. There's no like the progression of starting off with really shit loot, gradually building it up, building it up, building it up is so much more muddled now because all the really good stuff is just everywhere.
Someone had a comment before, Killbeans, about the plate carriers. And they were basically saying that, in their opinion, they thought that the plate carriers were a bit OP already. When if you're dealing with someone using an AR against you, the plate carriers work very effectively. What's been your experience with that, Killbeans?
I mean, the plate carriers, PvP as a whole for me, personally, I just feel like it's very inconsistent. And the times where I've been wearing a plate carrier, I'll just get one tapped, but then I'll shoot somebody wearing a stab vest and they're completely fine. And you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, the plate can absorb a load of bullets or whatever, but then you just go unconscious, and then it's the whole cycle just repeats. You get all this decent gear, you're wearing a plate carrier, you've got a decent gun. Someone with a BK-18 comes along, shoots you in the chest, you're unconscious, and then you're back at the coast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Greedy?
Yeah.
What's console like?
It's been the same. I think the actual, I guess, solution to fix it would be to tie in your health with the shock damage. So if you're full health and you cop a bullet, you don't go uncon and you don't drop, but you still feel that shock. You can still continue on the fight, but if you say sitting at half health, 3/4 health, that's when you cop that bullet and it makes you uncon because you're not as healthy to obviously absorb that shock. I think that's a part. I think that's one of the biggest issues that I found in DayZ. A healthy player is not counted as anywhere in the game. It doesn't matter if you're half health or whatever. I've been hit with a Mosin round across the map, unconned, wake up, I've got 1/4 of my health missing and my shirt's ruined and I'm not even cut. Surely I should have been able to take that bullet, fire back without a problem. So I do think they need to tie in the shock system to how much health you have and how healthy you are, especially with like food, water, blood.
Back in the day, actually, that used to be a lot more like that. Shock, the way it worked is it would be a counter. I mean, it's the same way it works in DayZ right now. Shock is basically once you get above a certain threshold, you'll go unconscious. But it counted down way slower back in the day. So shock would actually build up a lot, and then it would like tick down, tick down, tick down, and then rather than it being, this is actually how the timers were settled as well. Rather than it being a timer based on the caliber they hit you, it was It was basically this is the amount of shock you have. If you get under this, you wake up again, and then the countdown timer go the regen of the health, basically the shock going down. That's what indicated you waking up again. This caused problems because, like I said before, sometimes a bullet in the arm would register like 8 times, so people would be unconscious for like 20 minutes, right? There was no cap on the unconsciousness. Basically, it was like just going way off the charts, and then people are just laying there and laying there and laying there. But that what Greedy Peasant is saying is that having a slower uncon timer like it used to be back in the day, it makes it so you're vulnerable for a period of time for going unconscious faster after being hit. Does that make sense?
Dude's got a good comment in chat there, though. I would disagree here because if you get shot, you could be perfectly healthy IRL, but that goes out the window when it hits you. Bruising, bleeding, internal bleeding, broken bones, etc., etc. And that's part of.
Who's that guy?
just some guy.
Some annoying know-it-all
for a while and then come back and thinks he's the shit now. And...
Yeah.
What do you think about that? What he just said there, Greedy?
Yeah, I mean, I've played since preview on on console. I'm not sure they've changed the mechanics over time, but yeah, I just think that the healthy player isn't benefited enough, especially over a fresh spawn who's just come in. I mean, technically by law, you've just been washed up on the beach, or you're not in the best of health conditions. I think you shouldn't be able to just if you get shot as a fresh spawn, then fair enough, you drop like nothing else. But if you're geared up, you're full health, you've done the course, you've run all the way out, you've got the gear, you've come back. I do think that one tap and just drop and you wake up, you've got a quarter of a health missing, and you're not even bleeding. I think that's a big issue in the
So-
PvP side of it.
Couple of things I
You know,
want to elaborate
that's
on
actually
with
caused
comments
as
here.
well by the bolt actions. The bolt actions don't really carry a lot of damage across range. I think that is
No.
also it is one of my least favorite things in DayZ is that how aggressive damage drop off
Yes.
of bullets is, especially of the bolt actions. This is one of the changes we've made as well, is we actually made bolt actions do more damage over range. It's a bolt action. It shouldn't tickle at 600 meters. It
No.
should,
Yeah, that's right.
it's a 7.62 by 54 round. Like, it's still, back in the day, Mosins were being shot further than that, and it would just absolutely destroy people. I agree. It's like, I feel like there's still a lot of flaws, I think, in the way DayZ has been set up right now. And I think that's kind of like to what you said at the pregame, the pre-talk before we actually started the podcast. There's a lot of people that are very easy to jump to the defense of DayZ when there's obviously pretty blaring mistakes or pretty blaring issues with how the gameplay works right now. If you look at, I think Boba made a really good video around around the new gun, the SSG-82, and how the 545 bullets now do more damage. If you look at how the AK-74 as a gun, the AK-74 is an assault rifle. It is fairly common, but it is also made to be, I think, less common next patch. But if you look at how the damage system works, is that you have like a base damage of the gun. That's something that the SSG will shoot. So the SSG will shoot, I think, about 112 health damage. And then you have to lower the initial speed of the bullets, and that makes the damage of the AK-74 lower. So it's not like there is a multiplier of just the damage per gun. You have to start it with a lower bullet velocity. So I think the AK-74 with an unrealistically low bullet velocity still does 92 damage, which is ridiculous. It does also over 100 shock damage. So you can one-shot people with an AK-74 in the chest, going unconscious, and then being flashing red.
Yep.
Like one shot of an assault rifle. And obviously you could say, well, it's realistic, right? But in the game, that just makes it so there's a massive disparity. And just like one, it makes it so assault rifles just kill super fast, especially if a plate carrier. I mean, not even talk about the M4 at 900 RPM doing 98 damage per shot. Like, it's a laser beam, and you absolutely destroy someone with a plate carrier. There's, in my opinion, there is a realism side, and there is a gameplay balance side. And I feel like at the moment, in the wrong areas, realism is prioritized, and in other areas, I feel like stuff is a little bit arcadey again. So I don't know. It's the reason why we changed it on our servers. That's the reason why Mike made the post in the first place. And I feel like this needs to be pointed out as well. The reason why Mike made the post, he didn't make it for him. He didn't make it for me. We play on a server that has this, and just we can change it ourselves, and we don't even have to bother anyone else with our stuff, and we can enjoy the game. We like to have it. And that's the first thing people said. If you like it, stick on your server and do this. But like Greedy Peasant is saying, it's like the people on console are just basically at the mercy of what the devs adjust the game to. And we genuinely think the game will improve for all these people on console and for all these people on official if you just objectively look at some stuff in the way how PvP works, the balancing of some stuff. And if you just improve that, it will actually help so many people. And I feel like it's honestly a little bit selfish to the people saying it's like, stick to your own server. And they're very short-sighted when in reality, I think it's like there's a lot of people that could benefit from just a little bit of a, hey guys, let's take a step back. You don't have to agree with everything, but let's be a little bit objective here and see, because a lot of people are straight away throughout the Call of Duty comment. It's like, well, go play Call of Duty if you want to do this. When in reality, with the suggestions that we made actually makes the game less
lot more
arcadey
hardcore,
because
yeah.
less arcadey because you're going to have to get more shots on target. You have to then decide to go for a leg shot or a headshot instead of a chest shot. And I think the community in general just needs to be a little bit more open to that stuff. You know, it's like these days, back in the day, there was a lot of criticisms of Daisy and there was a lot of hate to Daisy. And that was terrible. Like it was really bad. Devs were getting death threats and all that stuff, and it was really bad. But I feel like right now the Daisy community is not like that anymore, and people still treat this like any like criticism towards the devs or towards the systems immediately gets put into that box, right? It's like, oh, people get super combative, and they don't even just chill and just take it for what it is. And I feel like that level of conversation needs to happen more often. And I think that's why when Mike made the post like that, I was just the first thing I said to Mike, well, good luck, mate. Good luck with that. You deal with that.
I want to elaborate on one thing here as well, Minder, is regardless of the fact that we disagree wildly on some points, everyone who's here is here for a reason, because we love this fucking game and we want the best for it. We all might have different opinions on that, but that's why I'm not upset about this. And you know, there was a couple of people, particularly on that feedback tracker, who were just carrying on like fucking idiots, and it really saddened me because
Twitter too.
Yes, mate. I live on fucking Twitter, so we all know that's the home of fucking idiots. But we're all here because we love the game, and we all have our differing opinions and you know, what we think is best for it. But at the end of the day, we're not doing it for you know, selfish reasons or anything like that. But yeah, Lifatilla, that's a topic for another day. We are all well aware of how bad cheaters are in the community at the moment. But yeah,
I'm not an admin, so the answer is 0.
So I'm writing down some notes here so far of what things that we've got that agreed on. Bolties need more damage at range. Bolties too easy to snap shoot. I loved Skullspeeder's thing about why go to gas zones for tier 4 rifles when the Mosin can one tap folks, when the Mosin / Bolties. What else have we managed to come to an agreement on?
Do you guys, and I would like to hear from like Killbeans and Greedy Peasant, what do you guys think about armor across the board absorbing more shock, making it so you don't go uncon as quickly while wearing armor?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, and with no, sorry, Killbeans, you go.
The uncon thing, especially when you're wearing armor, especially like a plate carrier, you shouldn't be going unconscious from one shot at all, in my opinion. It's stupid. It just makes it so pointless to even go out your way to travel across the map to get all this decent gear.
Epic
Yeah, on console we only have.
Go ahead.
On console we only have the one plate carrier, so I find that I don't even really use it at times. I just find it as a heavy mess.
I see a lot of people that play vanilla say that. They say that the play carrier is not even worth picking up.
Yeah, that's so messed up. That's so messed up. Like the play carrier, like it should be the like. In my opinion, play carrier should be the requirement of the end game. Like if you don't have a play carrier, you're just screwed. And that's how it is on our servers. If you don't have a play carrier, you'd want to get that play carrier, because if you have a play carrier without it, you're going to have a massive disadvantage. And that's how it should be. It's something that weighs 10 kilograms. It's literally a third of your stamina just like gone. And it should matter, I think.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Yeah, but I take movability over the plate carrier because of the reason of doesn't matter if I get shot or not, I'm uncon and I'm probably going to get thirsted, or there's going to be a second follow-up shot. I do it myself. If I uncon someone, it's down, dead. That's the follow-on in chat, because there's no point me rushing out for it, especially in console. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, I think the thought process with a lot of people that at least that I've spoken to about the whole plate carrier thing is a lot of them aren't picking it up because of the reduced stamina. It's just much easier for them to not take the plate, and when they do get into a fight with someone, they can just run away and do all this stupid zigzagging and stuff.
Yep.
And I think the inertia that's coming is great. I'm all for the inertia, but they need to do something like we were talking
Weapons.
about earlier with the guns as well.
Yeah. And that brings another point that they say, well, not another point, the same point again, is that what is the high tier loot? If you're leaving a tier 2 area and you already have a Mosin and a PU scope and press vest, for example, and you don't see the value in going and looking for a plate carrier because it's too heavy and it doesn't provide the protection that you need anyway,
Yeah.
what do you do? Like, is that the game complete? You go back to the coast and start killing freshies, or what do you do?
No, spot on, because that's my comfortable level right there. Get me, even if it's a stab vest, a Mosin, something, a small arms. I'm happy to run the whole map like that. I'll just go hunting like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm fast.
Stuff like that.
See, I rarely run the plate carrier myself because I'm a loot whore. My favourite is the the old Smirch Fest and backpack to give me as much inventory space as I can. Then I end up with no stamina, so it's almost like I am running with a plate carrier on. But I do concede the point that the plate carrier with the massive reduction in your stamina, I get that there's not much of an argument for bothering with it when you're still possibly going to get one-tapped uncon by someone who hits you with a high-cal rifle in that 200-meter range. I still come back to the point of that's still down to you've basically allowed yourself, whether it be by not having seen someone or by, maybe overextending your hand, getting within 200 meters of someone who you probably know has a bolt action rifle. So that's a risk you take by entering that. That's kind of where
But that's happening enough in DayZ. Like the initial surprise is strong enough. Like I feel like if you like I said before, if you go for the legs, if you're in that situation, you go for the legs. It's a harder shot to hit. But if someone has armor, I feel like it is the job of the shooter to overcome that armor if you know your gear isn't capable of dealing with said armor. I feel like. Also DayZ is like, yes, there is an element I think that there should be, is that if you are careless about your character, you should get punished for it. But it's not like that isn't the case if you don't go on con, like that's not the case at all. I do think is that gear should matter in this one, and seeing as how easy it is to land shots with bolt actions, how easy that kind of stuff just I was playing yesterday on official and I just got shot by the guy with the Mosin. I just got knocked on con and the guy was running for me and I woke up and then I returned fire and then we continued fighting for a bunch more. There was so much wrong in an entire firefight where the guy, instead of just like when he had a clear shot on me, go for the legs and I'm screwed, right? Or goes for a headshot and I'm dead. The guy just knocks me on con. I wake up quickly when the guy really is trying to do the right thing and trying to come up to me and potentially tie me up. I wake up, I return fire, and the whole situation is just, I feel like the whole, I feel like in general, it's like just the gameplay loop of DayZ, and especially from the PvP perspective. And I think I will say is that DayZ is doing incredible right now. Like they really, especially some of the PvE stuff that they implement, and that now also with the inertia stuff. It's not that DayZ is doing a terrible job. The devs actually really push the game forward, and it is noticeable. But I still think there is some, I don't know if it is a lack of understanding of those PvP mechanics. I don't know if it is just, lack of a priority within the devs to really like be focused on this stuff. But I feel like there needs to be more attention to the gameplay balance of PvP in general. I feel like, if we have this inertia thing, let's take it a step further. Let's give ARs more recoil. Let's make it so holding breath with assault with bolt actions that it just takes longer to get on target. You hold your breath, and then it takes like a couple seconds to zero in, and then you can take the shot accurately. Let's start implementing stuff like this, and then it's already going to be a massive improvement. And fixed Oncon. The whole part of the whole thing with DayZ is that Unconsciousness is such a unique feature that no other game has, and it's completely pointless and flaunted in the game, with the exception of melee. And I feel like that is such a wasted opportunity. Like you should be able to, like, I think it would be cool if you see a guy you'd want to. They're wearing a helmet, and you have, let's say, an SKS. You know, it's like, okay, if I shoot this guy in the SKS, he's going to go uncon because, like, you know, it sort of makes sense. You know, you get a big shock impact on the head, you go down. But then if they wake up 5 seconds later, like, it completely misses the point. I feel like there is definitely room for improvement here, and a conversation should be able to be had about that without getting fucking roasted on Twitter and being called a Call of Duty guy. Like, let's be honest here.
Yep.
Look, no, as long as the roasting is done in jest, yeah, I'm all for a good roast, and I'm looking forward to the one you guys have got planned for me later.
Pull up the clip, Mike. Pull up the
Should I do
clip.
it now?
Yeah,
Is it the time?
yeah. You gotta share. I want to hear the audio though, because the audio is
Yeah, give me a sec.
Okay.
Talking about roasting.
Let me try and find it.
And
It's
your
gonna be
point
good.
you were saying before about with the ARs, hold that point after this clip. We'll come back to that because I wanted to. Well, actually, while Mike gets it ready, did any of you guys try the Road to Vostok demo?
No, but I would
Yeah, I
like
did.
to be honest.
You did, Mike?
Yeah.
What did you think of the ARs in that?
I can't even remember actually. I thought they were pretty good from what I can remember, but I didn't play for long, to be honest.
Like once you, if you tried to just blat out a whole mag, by the end of that mag, it was getting pretty hard to hold the recoil on that weapon. It was shaking pretty bad. I'm interested in what you guys thought about it as well. Like it's still very early alpha stage, but I was interested in the way they did it. There was no, laser recoil, and admittedly I only played it for a bit, but I kind of got the feeling that was going to be hard to try to control. Like you watch some of the PUBG pros, and those guys can turn their, the barrels and all the rest of it into literal laser beams with how well they can control the recoil on them. The Road to Vostok method, it seemed to get more erratic as your burst went on, which encouraged you to do more controlled bursts rather than just aim, blat, hold trigger, pull down on mouse to control recoil and annihilate the enemy. Okay, so what is this?
I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. Just tell me if you can hear the audio.
Are you stop? Are you sharing the Are you sharing the screen or are you sharing the application?
The app. It wouldn't let me share it on Discord. So can you not hear this if I play it?
I don't hear
I can hear
anything.
it. I can hear it.
I can hear
Can
it.
you?
Okay, then it's on my end. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I can. Yeah.
Right, okay.
I'm shit.
I'm shit.
Nice, man.
I'm shit. Hey, look, at least I admit it. I know I am a shit PvPer. But yeah, I was watching that closely then. I was like to the left of him, then I was to the right of him. And
Yeah, that's what I tried to tell you though, is that your sensitivity is way too high.
Turn down your sensitivity, bro. That helps a lot. What's your sensitivity? What's your DPI and sensitivity? Let's make you a fucking Daisy Pro right now. You always you think it's the hours. You think it's just like people are PvP gods for having the hours and playing on PvP servers. No, dude, it's all about sensitivity. What's your DPI and what's your sensitivity right now?
With
As
that
exposed
setup,
as-
I wouldn't be able to hit fucking anything with 5,000 hours in the game.
You know what it is, Cody, or no? Your DPI.
no. Oh, there we go. DPI. Can you see that?
No.
If you look at the stream, you should be able to see it now.
It shows us your stats.
I don't. What stream?
The actual the YouTube stream.
Oh,
hang about.
okay.
If I share it, that'll probably be the better way to do it. Oh no, that doesn't like that.
1500. Your DPI is 1500.
Oof.
Yeah. Okay.
I run mine on 1500.
Yeah, but you're a melee. You're a melee god.
You're a melee god.
Melee god. So this works for that.
Is that
We
bad?
don't have those
is
settings
that
in
bad? Is it
console.
having it on 1500?
I know Taupe has it on 800. I have it on 700 with
I'm
low
800.
sensitivity in the game. I'd
Yeah.
like if your sensitivity in the game low or no.
Oh, I don't know.
If your sensitivity in game is really low to match it, then it's fine. But if your sensitivity in game is high, which it seems like it is from the clips, then you're just not going to be able to hit fucking anything that way. You're putting yourself at like a massive disadvantage straight from the bat.
Okay, that's a bit different. My mouse moves a bit slower now, but I'll get used to it. I don't see, but that's it. You guys are I've never really ever bothered with that sort of stuff because I just turn the game on and I just play it the way it is.
Yeah.
I don't go full on when it comes to my gaming style. What do you do that?
No, but
what's it
no,
like?
but this is pretty basic stuff. Like this is not like only the PvP gods adjust their DPI. This is pretty basic. When I'm going to start out and why do I suck at the game? And then if you do any sort of research, you go like, oh, every single person that plays video games at any level doesn't have a DPI of 1500.
Me and Boydie.
Why would my stupid fucking mouse set it as default?
Well, because
Corsair, I blame you for my shit PvP for the last 10 years.
It's interesting actually because you remember the 0.62 clips that you were showing, Boydie, recently?
Yep.
I think it was on your YouTube. Your sensitivity looked so much lower on that, and I was noticing that you were actually shooting people. You were actually killing people.
Yeah. Look, I'll be honest. I know we're getting a bit off track here, but I have kind of wondered what went wrong with me because I wasn't too bad back in early access days. You know, I could hold my own against, I wasn't great, but I wasn't as shit as I am now. Like now it's literally, I've kind of gone to, I'm the guy who runs with the Sega because hopefully one of those fucking pellets is going to hit the target.
Yeah, dude, just watch. The transformation that you're gonna get. You're gonna have all these clips now on your YouTube, and
It's
people are
gonna
gonna
be
go
a
like, "Where has
montage."
this guy been? Where has this guy been?" And then now all of a sudden, you go, "Oh shit! So it is easy to hit someone with a Mosin. Ah, damn it!" And then now you go like, "All right, I get it."
But I still stand by that I would like to see some other things played with first before we go in and just, buff the crap out of the plate carrier.
So
The
that's not what we said.
availability.
That's not what we said. We said it just absorbs shock. That's it. If you would just make that change alone of all, not just a plate carrier, press fast, stab fast, make it just absorb more shock. And that fixes a lot of that fixes the Uncon issue straight away.
There was a comment before about why is it instant Uncon, and I actually wondered that myself. Maybe if it was a gradual descent to Uncon, so you get hit, you're going to go Uncon, so you've got a few seconds to maybe try to do something, get into cover, get out of the area where you are before you do pass out. I thought that was an interesting option.
That was something actually that used to, back when I played on Xbox, I think most likely it was related to bad server performance or bad tick rate or something. But what would happen basically is that a lot of the time you would snipe someone, they would run for maybe 2 or 3 seconds and then fall unconscious. Yeah, and actually it was quite fun. Yeah, of course, it's bad server performance, but it was actually genuinely quite fun because someone's running around a corner, you hit them, they run round the corner, and I'm saying, oh shit, he might be unconscious round the corner, he might not be. You don't really know until you go around and find out. I actually did enjoy that.
That's selling it to me even more. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's realistic as well. It's realistic as well because people get shot. You don't just. Well, of course, it's different. Everyone gets shot.
It shouldn't.
No, definitely. No,
it
definitely.
Shouldn't be an instant. I've hit him. He's going to go uncon. I actually like that. To me, I like that bit of RNGesus in the game. That you don't know what's going to happen. That really? Okay, yeah, no, for sure, because you adrenaline is a crazy drug. The effects that it has on people. Now you look at old mate, the Finnish sniper. Dude got hit in the fucking head by an exploding sniper round, and it didn't kill him. But you see people say a headshot should be fatal. Dude fucking survived and went on to live a ripe old age. I think he died in 2002 or something like that. What's his name? Someone in chat will know. The White Death, the Finnish sniper in World War II. He didn't even use a PU scope. He was their best sniper. He just used the iron sights because he didn't like the fact that the PU scope would fog up in the snow and that. Whereas, mate, if I got hit in the fucking head by an exploding round, I'm screaming like a bitch. I'm a dead man. It reacts different. I've actually been hit in the head by no, but you look at how certain people react to different things. Where some people get shot, some people don't. A bit of randomness. Now, I know a while back, you probably remember this well as well, Minder. Remember when they had all the internal organs? That was an abomination. The one-shot deaths was bad.
Why would you add more randomness to the game? Like, can you imagine spending hours and hours on end building your character? You have the ultimate stuff, and then it's just a fucking slot machine and you die. That's such bullshit. I feel like you should be punished for making the bad decisions. You should be punished for missing a shot. You should be punished for, just putting yourself in the spot or someone taking you out. This is why I think is that when we will have all these new in 1.19, all these loose ammo that we're finding is going to be damaged and badly damaged and all that stuff. And all that really adds is one, the ultimate need of endless searching for weapon cleaning kits, but also it just adds RNG to a game that I feel like RNG is I feel like it's such an ungrateful way to kill off a person. I feel like if especially in DayZ about survival, it's a survival game, right? And then the survival part is taken out of your hands. That's bullshit.
Not the complete RNG of like a red zone, say in PUBG. I always hated the red zone in PUBG. It was a shitty way to fucking die.
That's the level that you're suggesting. If someone,
I'm talking about
one person
where
goes on con and the other person doesn't go on con. If one person
but you
jams
still
their
know
gun,
that the person may, and then it's on you. If you rush around that corner blindly, then it's still back coming onto you. I think a delayed uncon and a variable of it, and you could even tie that variable into things that you might not be able to be assured of. Like in my mind just then, Mike, I had maybe we make it that a pristine plate carrier, which is quite rare, but a pristine plate carrier will do that. But anything less than a pristine, maybe even include a worn. So you've got to spend some time, making sure you've got a leather repair kit or epoxy to keep it in the best state. But if it's damaged or it's badly damaged, no, you're going to get one-shot unconned.
That's pretty much how we have it on our
Maybe that's
servers
options
as well.
that we could look at, so that it's not just, you find a plate carrier that's badly damaged, stick it on, and you're bulletproof. You've got to maintain.
No one is arguing for that. I feel like I'm pretty sure. Does vanilla even spawn plate carriers in actual spawns or just on zombies now? It's just
on infected now, pretty much. Yeah.
So there is the pristine plate carrier doesn't exist then, because it's just worn is the best. I think the best, or even damaged. Well, I guess you can find it war, but I'm pretty sure they don't spawn with pristine. I could be wrong on this one. But yeah, I agree.
Could be made to tier 4 loot where you can find it in the gas zones.
Yeah, fair enough. But if you tier 4 is also TISI and West Evac, by the way. Gas zone is a completely different story. But I feel like if you get shot by a Mosin and your plate carrier is damaged, the way it works is do you guys know how the damage system works in DayZ now when it comes to armor protecting you or not?
Not properly.
I've got a basic understanding from Wobo stuff, but yeah.
Okay, so basically, in short, the plate carrier has an amount of health, and it has a stat, a sort of like a modifier, or that makes it so a percentage of the damage of the round coming in goes to the plate carrier, and a percentage goes to the player. If the percentage that goes to the plate carrier, so let's say Mosin does 100 damage, just for the sake of just the explanation. The plate carrier absorbs 50% of that damage, but the plate carrier only has 40 health. It means is that the health of the plate carrier cannot absorb the bullet, the 50% of 100 being 50. It cannot absorb that damage, so it goes through like it doesn't exist. So the requirement for armor absorbing the rounds is that the health of the armor is bigger than the absorbing damage that it's supposed to do of the bullets. And so damaged or badly damaged plate carriers just goes through because it does not have the health of the armor strong enough to be able to withstand.
And it goes through at
the
its
impact
full
of the
value
bullet.
of the round.
Yes, then it
That's
basically
a
ignores
bug.
the armor being there. That's how it works.
That's a bug. That's
what?
broken. That needs to be fixed.
No,
because
that's normal, and that's how it should be.
No, it should still reduce some of the velocity impact of the round. It's not going to reduce all of it, but as it decreases in performance, unless you were to basically keyhole, which is where you put a round straight through another one, if you hit somewhere else on it, it's going to be lessened, the effectiveness of it, depending on the sort of vest you're wearing, but it's still going to have some reduction effect. To allow the whole thing to go through, if it calculates that the round exceeds the vest value, to me does not sound like that's a good mechanic.
So I do actually like it for gameplay. It may not be realistic necessarily, but the way that we have it balanced on our servers, for example, is, the whole, it doesn't uncon in one shot, but it does kill in 2 shots. So 1 shot, if your plate carrier is pristine or worn, 1 shot from a Mosin will damage the plate carrier, put it to either damaged or badly damaged, and leave you at roughly half health as well. So you'll be slow, limping.
Yeah,
and your
about
plate carrier
45
is
health.
also damaged.
Yellow 45 health. Yeah.
And your plate carrier will also be damaged. So even if you heal up after that, but don't fix your plate, 1 more shot will still put you down. So it adds that you need to be maintaining the plate carrier constantly. It's not just you have it and you're invincible. It needs to actually be in a good condition for it to be offering the best protection that it can.
Dude I Rage has just summed up what I was trying to say. That's really silly. If the plate has 40 hit points and the Mosin round hits you for 100, it should hit you for 60 and ruin the vest. What you just explained seems dumb. That's how I believe it should be. It should basically...
Yeah, but you hear it, but do you play it? I feel like it's easy to say. It's like, that sounds dumb, but it's not like the system itself right now is broken. Like, I feel like there is... I feel like if the armor is compromised, a plate carrier is a plate carrier, so it is metal, it is a steel plate that's in it. But you could, so for the sake of it being compromised, because I don't know if a press vest, for example, is ceramic or whatever. Maybe you know this better, Boydie. But is that once the plate itself, it can be compromised and it can protect you less. And I think it's.
You just said it there, though. It protects you less. It still protects you a bit.
I think it protects you fine in the game. Like, I feel like it works in the game. I don't feel like that mechanic itself results in the game becoming shittier. I feel like it makes it so. You'd want getting hit by big calibers to matter. Well, that's part of the system. How it works with the armor is like once you have. Okay, so let's put it in the scenario of Greedy Peasant, right? If you, Greedy Peasant said, I got shot by a Mosin, I got knocked on con, and I have 3/4 health, and the plate carrier is damaged. If you then get shot again, it means that you will still go on con, the plate carrier is now badly damaged or ruined, and then, so now you can absorb 2 Mosin shots, right? Then you now absorb 2 Mosin shots, and then people are going to say, is like, what the fuck? A plate carrier absorbs 2 Mosin shots? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
And so I feel like having the mechanic there is that armor protects you to a certain degree, and then then you're on your own. I feel like that level of vulnerability makes it. I feel like that makes it that's fair. I feel like that's pretty balanced. I feel like that the plate carrier being damaged would be more. Useful against ARs than a bolt action at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, though, if what you're saying then is, okay, I've been hit once, I may as well just take it off because it's not going to do anything the second time.
No, you need to repair it, and like I said, it will protect you from smaller caliber fire, not the.
So like your damaged plate carrier, for example, is still going to protect you if you get hit by something like a fucking AKS-74U or an SMG pistol or something like that. It's not just that it's useless; it's just not going to protect you again from another Mosin shot or a Winchester shot or whatever it is.
Or is that right that once it is been taken one bullet, should you take it off? Like, are you weighing up? Okay, now I've got a damaged vest. Is that worth my stamina?
I would still argue, yeah, because of the vanilla damages, especially if you take that plate carrier off, one shot from pretty much anything's going to fucking destroy you unless it is a pistol.
Hillbeans, what's your take?
The AK-74 going to 112 damage, for example, that's going to ruin you.
I just have to agree
Oh,
with
100%,
Minder on that.
100%.
Go Killbeans.
I have to just agree with Minder on that. The whole plate carrier thing.
So you like the way it is, where basically if the round exceeds the health of the plate carrier, it ignores the plate carrier and applies the full damage to you.
Yeah, and I think what Manda was just saying there about not absorbing like 2 Mosin shots, I agree with that. I think if you're lighting someone up with 2 Mosin shots, then yeah, they should be dead.
Yeah.
But if they shoot you with a Mosin, it damages your plate, and then they push you with an AK, then yeah, it can still absorb some of the bullets. I don't think it'll be. I know I, for one, wouldn't take a plate carrier off if I'd just been hit with a Mosin. I'm not going to drop my plate just in the chance that I'm going to survive. I'm going to keep it on to give me that better chance to fight back, and defend myself.
You know, Rage's just said something in chat there that I want to sort of touch on, which is related to this. The damage system is broken, though, and there is almost zero reward for keeping enemy players alive, which defeats the purpose of Uncon. Before I go ahead with that, Minder, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, stab vest. Should it reduce the damage of the Mosin bullet coming in?
Honestly, my understanding of what a stab vest is, you get hit by a Mosin with that, I highly doubt it's going to stop the bullet at all, like a plate would. And even then, not all plates are created equal, but I'm assuming because this is a military plate, it's designed to handle higher ones. A stab vest would be reducing very minimal. What I think would need to be put into place there is a mechanic that the stab vest basically works for your lower caliber rounds, your slower velocity rounds. But when you're talking about your higher caliber weapons, it just negates the fact that you're almost wearing it. It's going to be...
Okay, cool. This system does exactly that. You just explained the system that is in place.
No, but because where I still stand with a plate carrier is, have you ever watched videos on people shooting at plate carriers and things like that?
Yes, yeah.
Yep, it's quite interesting how they work. Depending on the style, your ceramic ones are prone to shattering, but your actual metal ones, it generally doesn't shatter it. Just where you hit it, it's damaged. The majority of the rest of the plate is still effective. Now, I understand that DayZ probably really can't incorporate that sort of a mechanic well, because that would be quite a complicated one. And I do like the way that they've got it, that, as it takes damage, it goes from pristine, worn, damaged, badly damaged, ruined. But even in those lesser states, it's still got to offer some protection, unless that person was lucky enough, like I said, to basically keyhole, which is... to keyhole at a range is, that every time if you've ever shot and you keyhole, you're always fucking excited.
It's rare, I get what you're saying, yeah.
So it still offers some protection. And then we've also got the arguments of, the plate carrier. Really, that plate is only designed to protect your vital organs, which is your heart and your lungs. It doesn't provide protection really, anything, because you don't want the plate to be that big, because... they try to keep the plate as small as possible to just protect your vitals. Plates are designed to handle high caliber rounds for the most part for military. Stab vests, it's in the name, like someone said there.
Yeah,
it's designed to protect against stabs. Fragmentation as well is also able to be absorbed by a lot of your stab vest sort of things, because they're just small, low velocity projectiles of pieces of metal and so on. But yeah,
I mean, I don't disagree in that. You could go for a very, very sophisticated armor system, but notice how
it's still got to be gameplay.
Right, and notice how I also explain how the damage system with in terms of the SSG and the AK-74 works.
Mhm.
These damage systems are super simple and are not nearly as complicated as, in my opinion, they should be. But there's probably also a reason for it. I feel like, if you look at how the damage system used to be back in the day, when some stuff could register on arms in
Yep.
different ways, it made it so probably there's some vulnerabilities there. Like probably there are some issues there that potentially means is that the damage is going to get broken again. I don't think necessarily the suggestion that you're making that a plate carrier should be more effective in tanking a second shot. How does that translate to gameplay? I feel like a single Mosin shot. Mosin is the heaviest caliber gun in the game. You get one chance. You don't go uncon because you don't get a second chance then, right? But if a plate carrier should stop one, your yellow health, and you're in that situation now. Your movement is slower, and you know that the second hit in the chest will knock you out. It's go time now. Like it's serious, and I feel like having to redo an entire system that works for the other vests pretty well just for that potential hint of realism getting there. I feel like it's not really worth the effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But I'm really enjoying this discussion. And I think most people are watching as well. Now, I've got to go back. Now, what was the point? Okay. One of the things, like, you remember this as well, Minder. Back in the early days of DayZ, what happened to a guy's gear when you absolutely lit them up with an AR or something like that?
Yeah, all the gear became pointless. Yes.
Yeah, you pretty much ruined everything on them. And that's something that I kind of miss, to be honest. And I think for basically the point that Dude I Rage is saying there is almost zero reward for keeping enemy players alive, which defeats the purpose of Uncon. One of the things was, if you shot someone and they went uncon back in the day, you generally didn't try to, you at least tried to get up closer to them to be able to, pinpoint headshot them rather than just spray them, just keep them pumping rounds into them. Because if you did, you pretty much destroyed everything on them. There was going to be very little of use, bar maybe the gun that they had in their hands, because you destroyed everything else. Is that something they could do to try to prevent people from, because I keep it coming back to this point of, you guys said there's very little incentive not to just two-tap a person. Because one tap knocks them, and then you just finish them with the second shot. Whereas if you know that there's a good chance you're going to destroy everything on that person, maybe you'll be more inclined not to take that second shot.
Maybe someone else can give their insight on this. Not Mike.
Why not me?
Scottish.
Okay. So racist.
Hilby, what do you think?
I quite like the idea of stuff getting ruined when you light someone up, to be honest. Because then, if you've knocked someone unconscious, it is going to then force you to either, tie them up, or you're then going to have to worry about taking stuff off the body so you don't damage the items.
Or even, just be more like aiming for that center of the CMAS. If you're good enough to get a headshot to finish them when they're uncon, so be it. But if you just aim for, a potato shot like me and aim for the center of the CMAS, well, that's where their vest is, that's where their shirt is, that's where their backpack is. So there's a good chance you're going to destroy the majority of gear that person's carrying. What's Dude saying? The reward back in the early mod days was the banded hero system, which probably does not exist now due to its complicated nature. There are mods available for that, but we've got to remember the console crowd as well. Mac, it doesn't really force it. It gives you... it's still basically an option. You can decide to just destroy them if you want to, if you just don't care about the gear.
I don't think it forces. I think it makes you think about how you're going to act towards somebody, and
I think
the consequences of your actions.
I think in the old system in 0.62 was just too extreme to the point where if you did shoot someone, like the vast majority of shit that they had in their backpack or their jacket, whatever, is going to be totally ruined. But I think right now it's a bit underwhelming in the sense that I think the max that you can get damaged is only one item when you get shot for each shot or whatever it is. I think it would be cool to bring it back, not as extreme, but perhaps if you do like just spray someone with an AR, for example, that it is going to damage or potentially ruin a lot of their stuff. And it might be a glorified way of thinking about it, but it could also sort of bring in a scenario of if you see someone, you might be more likely to try and hold them up, take them hostage, rather than just hose them down, or like you said, go for a headshot or break their legs or something. But
I agree with this. It just shouldn't be like it used to be, because it used to be is just like, I killed a dude. I can only loot 5% of the stuff he had on him. That shit fucking sucked. I thought it was so annoying how you found the juiciest guy and then everything was ruined on him and you couldn't fucking you couldn't do anything with it. So yeah, it needs to be done well this time, not in the way it used to be. Especially with the grenade. Like remember with the grenade, if someone get killed by a grenade, just like everything is done. Like everything on that guy is done. Yeah, it was too much.
Yeah, it definitely needs like a randomization of it, so that it's not just, as you said, it was bad before. Like you'd go up to them and just everything from their boots to the glasses they were wearing was ruined, and you're like, man, did I just fire a fucking bazooka at this guy, or what did I hit him with? But yeah.
Saying that, if you're both fully geared, how much loot are you taking off the person? Like a freshie's going to go, like in the Mosin situation where they find a Mosin versus a geared person, they're going to take that pristine shot. They're going to wait for that moment to hit. Whereas when it's geared versus geared, really, what are you taking off them? Maybe some ammunition?
No, listen. People are greedy loot whores.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Hell, I'm a
matter
greedy loot
how
whore.
geared
I
they
know
are.
that.
They want that sweet, juicy loot for the possibility. It's like you could see some of the most geared dudes playing around, and those guys are the fastest on a body when they kill someone because they're fucking they're loot horse and they have to get that last like that sweet loot. So no. There'll be plenty of people that still, when they're geared, want to get that oh man, that extra box of 308. I have 10, but I could have 12. Like no.
Like Ed Gers has said in chat there, I don't get the idea behind removing the reward, the loot of winning a firefight by making most of the gear ruined. So the comeback I would have to that is if they do something like that, because I'm not saying they will, but if they were, it needs to be done well. If you're shooting someone with a full mag of 7.62 by 39, there's a good chance you're going to destroy most of the stuff on them. If you're shooting them with one shot, there's a good chance that most of the stuff's going to be good to go. And you kind of, we're not looking at any of these things individually. Like the points I've got so far, bolties need more damage at range. Bolties too easy to snap shoot, as evidenced by the clip you had before, Mike. Why go to gas zones for tier 4 rifles when bows and bolties can one-tap folks? Skull Speeder's point. Plate carrier reduced stamina, not really worth it when you can still get one-tapped. Plate carrier ignores damage if the round damage exceeds its health value. Gear not getting ruined as much when shot by players. So when you combine a lot of these things together, you're starting to get to a much more attractive style of game. If bolties were better at range, you may see people more inclined to take those shots, because I totally get now why a lot of people just run around and use these bolties and Mosins at close range. Because like you said, Minder, if a person's wearing a plate carrier, yes, if they're running around with no plate carrier or press vest, you can still shoot them and one tap them at a decent range. But if they are, what's the point in taking a shot from all that distance away when there's no chance of, unless you get that 1 in a million headshot, there's no point in doing it.
Remember back in the days, you used to be, like you were in the, we're now all like, what the apartment's called above Cherno, what are they called? Like Dupke and,
Yep.
and all everything up there. remember like back in the day there was a triple yellow building, and they were always on top of that triple yellow, and then the only way to take those guys out is to hit a 900-meter shot.
Yes.
Now I remember specifically is hitting that shot felt so good because those camping motherfuckers killed so many freshies down there, and like hitting a shot like that feels amazing in DayZ. And now at 900 meters, it tickles you. Actually, I have a funny thing about that. So yesterday I was playing official, and I got hit by. I was at the summer camp near the dam near Zelenogorsk, towards the west of that, and I saw my character stumble like when it got hit. I was wearing a plate carrier. I think it was yellow health at the time, and I went to flashing red. So when I stumble, it means that it either has to be the 308 and 7.62 by 54, because those are the high caliber rounds that hit you, so that makes you stumble in the game. But I heard no snap, and I heard no snap and heard no shot. So when you add all of those together, it means is that someone shot at me, and someone actually mentioned this in chat. A snap from a gun, from the Mosin, for example, or a Winchester, does not happen anymore at about 850 meters, which means is that the guy shot at me from 850 meters away. He was a hacker, obviously. But the point that I'm trying to make is like it barely tickled me. It barely tickled me. The guy was absolutely a hacker because there was bullets coming in, and hackers is a completely different conversation on official. It's fucking terrible. But I did notice is that, oh wow, the guy shoots me at 900 meters plus, and I went from yellow health to flashing red. It does like, and it hits me, and it does so little. So yeah, it's
No
kind
reward.
of, it's kind of a bummer that
No reward.
yeah, it doesn't carry the bullet ranges for like these bolt actions, that it drops off too fast.
Mm-hmm.
I want to sort something that's happening in chat. Yes, DayZ is not a milsim, but DayZ is based off of a milsim game. And just forget the word mill. It's based off a simulator game, MILF. So it's meant to be more realistic than most
Milsim.
other games. So yes, it's not technically a milsim, but it is probably one of the most grueling games out there. And that's probably what attracts us to it. You look at the likes of Minder, the likes of Running Man. These guys have been playing this game since 2012, 2013, and they're still playing it. They've dabbled in other games. They've gone and had a look, and they still keep coming back to it because there's something different about DayZ. Pretty much, despite the cheeky things about Minder and crew trying to turn DayZ into COD and all the rest of it, they're not. DayZ is so far more advanced than COD, but very few games come close to managing what DayZ has. The realism, whilst it's not 100% realistic, and it never should be, because pretty much you'd get shot and you'd just be laying on the ground crying in a ball on the ground. But it's a more realistic game, and that's the hard part. You get the elitists like me, who want it to be as hard and as grueling and as punishing as possible. And then you get the people who want a more balanced experience. One point I want to make sure that we all think of is that how bad is it really that, I think we're quibbling over some fairly minor things. It's in a pretty good state. And Greedy, I really want you to come in here, because us on PC, we've got the luxury of being able to mod in and make changes to stuff that you guys just don't. What is the overwhelming feeling on console like about PvP on DayZ?
So PvP, as I said, we have our issues with that uncon problem, but I currently run a super hardcore server where it's been scaled so PvP is drawn more inland, but that freshie versus geared aspect has been really drawn out in the server because of I honestly think it has to do with loot placement and how it's tiered in the actual server. I think if vanilla goes through and maybe a re-tier and looked at what guns are where and made a little bit more importance to sniper rifles, not as much the ARs, but those sniper rifles are pretty nasty. I think it'll change a lot of the game and a lot of how PvP rolls. It also goes on the server you want to roll. I'm a custom man. I do a lot of community stuff. So to have the ability to, like you guys have, to adjust certain gear in a death match would be very beneficial. If we could have a somewhere in the files that we could adjust these items, I think the PvP in console will be a lot different. But currently, you're running on a Survivor vanilla scale, and you're putting it in a death match. It doesn't work as well. Whereas if you're putting that in a hardcore server, you get a lot more benefit for how the loot acts.
So
Can I say something about that?
Yep, go for it.
Cool, thanks. I think in general, what Greedy Peasant is saying is bang on. I feel like in the base game right now, there is not a gradual progression of loot when you start on the coast and go towards the end game areas. I feel like you get the best experience by being rewarded to go and find your loot away from the coast.
Yeah.
I feel like on our servers there, like freshie killers are just not a thing. They're just not, because there's nothing to gain on the coast. There is Riffy, granted, but that's a completely different argument whether or not it should be there. But other than that, like, there's really not any geared people on the coast, and there is definitely a lot of improvements that the devs can make in terms of just the setup of the central loot economy. I feel like stuff like for example, I think it's kind of annoying is that the vast majority of guns you find don't have a magazine. The vast majority. And now you're carrying 4 guns, 6 different magazines, 20 different ammo types, and they all don't match. And it's just a bit like, what's going on? I feel like in general there's definitely a lot of improvements that can be made in terms of central loot economy. And like Greedy Peasant is saying, if you make it so it's worthwhile to go inland, the server becomes better. My opinion. Do you agree, Greedy Peasant? Does
100%. My server is actually my gas zones contain like your high-end medical, so like Tetra, your injectors. It also contains things like saws and hatchets. MBC is quite easy to get their hands in, but it forces the player to start running a scenario. If you want to build a base, you have to go to the gas zone. My nails only spawn in Tizzy, so you got to make the journey up there.
okay.
It's a very different concept. I actually have during the week all the major militaries walled off. You have to complete a task, which are rituals, to the DayZ gods, and then if those rituals are completed by the community, then it opens up the militaries for the weekend. It helps draw. Rather than the focus being base rated on the weekend, it draws on, okay, I need to get a base down because I've spent the middle of the week establishing myself and I'm settled now. I've got food, I've got knives, I've got the stuff. But now on the weekend, I've got to go get nails. I don't do boxed ammo or loose ammo. Every gun comes with a mag, and it comes with variance in the percentages. Because I feel like in an apocalypse, who's still got loose ammo left over? Surely everyone's pumped every round they possibly can to try and stop the infected. So, you're finding guns with, the high calibers have less, and the sporter has quite a lot on it because it's absolutely useless. But that's how I've combated the whole how to get people around the map, how to get people moving, and how not to get a freshie versus a geared player the advantage over that geared player.
I do think the availability of ammo is an issue. If again, this is probably me heading to my elitist sort of mindset, but I've been really enjoying 1.19 experimental. I've been unsure of the state of how the damaged ammo affects jams and all the rest of it. I've been waiting for Wobo. Wobo, hurry up and do a video on that, please.
That's it. Cool, Wobo.
Need to know about the damaged mags and the damaged. But I found I was stashing so many weapon cleaning kits. They became weapon cleaning kits are always good, but it was like, oh my god, you know. I've got all this damaged ammo. Do I waste 25% of my weapon cleaning kit repairing the damaged ammo and trying to bring this magazine from badly damaged to worn at least to make my weapon more effective? And that I found was quite interesting in the base version of the game because it added a whole new mindset of, okay, but I think they may have patched that because I jumped back on again today briefly and it seemed like I was finding a lot less stuff in that badly damaged state. I know some people didn't like that, but I thought that was quite a good idea because it made it so that, you know, it's not just running around with pristine ammo everywhere. You know, that ammo's probably been sitting around for a couple of years. And if it's not stored correctly, ammo does deteriorate. You know, my son got given a box of old 7.62 by 39 ammo. And we took it to the range and the majority of it was useless. It was misfire after misfire after misfire because it hadn't been stored properly. It had just died. The ammunition was useless.
I don't know. I feel like you're just adding a lot of RNG to the game. RNG in general, I think, is just it can have some element, but it shouldn't be major. I don't think you should add every single you should head into every single firefight or let's say 60% of the firefights because you happen to have not been lucky enough to find a weapon cleaning kit to basically throw a slot machine whether or not you're actually going to win based off of just the percentages of guns jamming and stuff like that. I feel like there is something to be said is that they're definitely ammo deterioration is the interesting thing to add to a survival game, and there's a level of realism yes, but it's also a little bit of a slippery slope because it also makes it so now you're adding just random stuff to the game. People lose characters purely because you just happen to not get lucky enough to find a weapon cleaning kit. It's the same thing with infected wounds. When you get hit by a zombie, you bandage, and then it's a percentage chance of getting infected wounds. But a lot of the time, it's not necessarily a thing of like, should I have bandaged there? Because you have to bandage, right? You don't have a choice. And now you just add a level of RNG, and then you get punished for something you didn't really do wrong. Like, what did you do wrong? You could argue is that you got a bleed in the first place. But even getting a bleed from a zombie with a single hit is very common. So the RNG stuff in the game is like, yes, it can be useful, it can be cool, and not everything has to be perfectly laid out in the game. But I feel like overdoing it also just makes it a little bit too gimmicky and a little bit too putting it in the game for the sake of it being a survival game rather than it in sort of gameplay making sense.
Fair point. Anyone else got any input on that? Killbeans?
I think the stuff spawning in damaged and that is okay. But when 1.19 first came out on experimental, it was way too high. I think if they dial it right back, then yeah, okay, that's cool. But yeah, I think they just got to be careful with it.
I did actually initially. I thought it sounded good, but not from the sort of RNG perspective, more just from the perspective of I always thought that current DayZ just has way too much ammo, and I really liked the idea of limiting that quite drastically, but I don't think making it all so likely to be damaged or badly damaged is the best solution. I think it adds an element and it's good to a degree, but I think it's overdone, and what they should do instead is just reduce the amount of ammo overall and then have some of it being damaged, some of it being badly damaged or whatever. And then you also open up the whole thing with the weapon repair kits where it's, should you really have to spend 25% of your weapon repair kit fixing 2 damaged rounds or 1 damaged mag? Like, I don't know. I think it's overdone. It has a place, it's overdone, and generally they should reduce the ammo totally.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel
Guys-
like having a weapon cleaning kit also take a quarter of a use to
Yeah.
to fix a 5 stack of bullets is
Yes.
ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
it should. I feel like a maximum stack should be probably not a quarter but an eighth for one stack.
There's so many things that are in that sort of thing, where you're using a sharpening stone to repair something, and it might have only just gone into damage, but it's still used the same percentage to bring it back to worn. And I would like to see a bit of improvement in that area, but again, it's not that big of an issue. But I did enjoy the. I personally loved the damaged, the higher rate of damage stuff, because it really made you value what you found. You were looking at everything and analyzing. Oh shit! I do want that jacket over there, but it's in badly damaged, and the one I've got's in worn. Is it worth it? And it just added a different level of complexity. But does anyone else have anything that they want to discuss? Because I think we've been going for 2 hours now. I think we've reached a fairly a good point. Minder, what you got?
Yeah, I have to go anyway because I have to make dinner. But
What are you cooking?
Tacos.
Hey.
Tacos with minced beef and sour cream and eggplants.
Nice.
Hot sauce, a little bit of salad, a little bit of cilantro, a little bit of lime juice. You know.
You got me with everything but the eggplant. What the fuck you got eggplant for?
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Well,
Must be an Aussie thing.
Aussie thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
don't
don't
want
know,
the eggplants.
Eggplants
Normally
are
I-
only
I-
good for phallic emojis.
Oh, I don't know. I felt like let's mix it up a little bit. I always put fucking bell peppers on it. Like let's mix it up a little bit. Like just get some eggplant going, get some nice spices going, and just fill it with that.
By the way,
Yeah,
actually,
nice.
I've got to say this before you go. I'm still pissed at you, Minder. When I went out
get
for
in
my
line,
fancy
but-
when I went out for my fancy dinner, and everyone tagged you and said, "Minder, you should be the one commenting on this," and you liked it, but you didn't tell me what I should have been eating.
Whoa, when was this?
That was when I went to that fancy steak restaurant about a month ago.
Okay.
See, this is how little he
I-
cares about me, people. He can't even remember one of the most
I
momentous
don't know.
occasions
I'm
of
not a steak restaurant aficionado. The restaurant I used to work at wasn't like that at all. I don't know. It's like, what'd you have, Boydie? Let's go. What'd you have, dude?
I had
No,
wagyu.
let's do it right now on the podcast.
I had wagyu steak for the first time in my life. Genuine fucking
Nice.
proper
What'd you
wagyu.
have with it?
Wagyu fat fried baby potatoes.
And that's it?
Yep, that's all I fucking wanted.
Salt?
Oh, of course, salt and pepper.
Then what you need beef for, dude? That's it.
I needed to
That's
know
all you
which.
need.
No, I needed to know which steak, because there was all this fucking stuff about
It's
marble
wagyu.
scores.
Everything is called fat in it. It doesn't
H
matter. It's
scores
wagyu.
and different breeds and different fucking this, that's, and the other things. I didn't know what
I
the
don't
hell I
know.
was looking at.
Did you get the A5 fucking massively graded, paying $300 for a single steak, or what did you get?
Yeah, we had a little piece of that. They came out and they cooked it on this little sizzling stone right on the table in front of us, and oh my god, it was so fucking good. If you've never had
Nice.
a proper wagyu steak, folks, save up for
I've
a
never had
special
it.
save up for a special occasion, and oh my god, it'll ruin steak for you. I still enjoy steak, but it's like, man, I wish I could go back there, but like it's
Yeah.
expensive. It's fucking expensive, but yeah.
Okay.
Wh-
Okay.
Whoa.
So you want so I should have. I'm just not that knowledgeable at wagyu. I used to work in a restaurant, but it's a lot more like fine dining, French food. Like
Mhm.
a lot more of a different vibe than steak. But wagyu, I'm jealous. I definitely would like to try it at some point as well.
It is good. It is good. It is worth it. One day you have to do it, my friend.
Are you satisfied, Boydie?
I am satisfied now.
Okay.
We could be
okay.
friends again.
Okay, you can tweet about it. Okay, you can start drama. That's fine. I'm just saying, it's like, just want to make sure.
Guys, I want to thank you all. This has been really, really good. Everyone in chat, I want to thank all of you. We tried to get in as many of your comments as well. I think, to summarize what we've got, Bolties need some work. They definitely need some work. It's too easy to just run and gun with them, like Mike showed in that amazing clip he got, where he's just dropping fucking infected like crazy. But bolties, that's really all they're good for, because if you're using them at range, they're kind of useless. It's why bother shooting at someone, past that 400-500 meter mark, because like you said yourself, Minder, it kind of just tickles you at a distance. So
can I bring up that clip just one more time quickly before we end?
Yep.
Are you watching on the stream?
I
Minder,
am
you
now.
can go cook your tacos.
All right, show it, dude.
I was just going to say, we talked about the the gunplay for the bow action rifles, but just to touch on the ARs as well. I just find it so difficult that anyone can defend assault rifles doing such high damage, being able to shoot like this. They don't move. They're just complete lasers. Even when you're moving straight from left to right, I don't know. I struggle to believe that anyone can look at that for a hardcore game like DayZ with such high damages and such big impacts that this is fine, that this is great, this is how it should be. It just doesn't make sense to me. Even on the M4, 900 RPM and it shoots like this. What's going on? What is going on? That's just dumb. That is just dumb. There's no excuse for that, in my opinion.
Agreed.
What you need to do, I think, is re-record these clips and use the mod of the ones that actually shows the bullet path, just to show, like, you can sort of make it out from this. But the one that Wobo uses for his clips, the one's got that mod on the workshop where you can actually see how many of those shots are all hitting. Because
you only need two. You only need one or two at most to drop someone. Like, even if I do miss a few, you're still just lasering.
It's the laser beam, isn't it?
Maybe your baby AK, the UMP should be better like this, but your assault rifles, no, they should not be behaving like that.
Boydie, you know is that a baby AK would have more recoil than an AK-74?
It kind of will.
You're a gun guy, dude.
It's not balanced as well, but yeah, okay.
IRL would have more recoil, right? The AKS.
Baby AK was a bad example because it is.
Uh-oh. Sorry, I'm being annoying.
No. Bring back the rack.
All right.
Killbeans, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
No, it was good. It was good to get just an extra perspective on this, because particularly as it was a bit of a wild card perspective. I deliberately didn't ask you what your opinion was because I wanted to find out on the show. Same as you, Greedy. I wanted you to come on talking about it from a console perspective. Mike, we kind of Minder said I couldn't really do this without bringing you along, mate. He said we got to throw Mike a bone. But now that you're well, see, Minder and I have been talking behind the scenes about this, and it was like, do we have to have Mike? He's kind of look, he's part of Karma Crew, and if
you know what, and listen, I ask that question myself every day, and
keep sending me more free shit, bitch.
Yeah, I keep sending him free shit. I feel bad, so.
But you got to be careful, Minder.
He's not a terrible mapper.
He's getting pretty famous now. He's popping into people's streams. That famous Scottish map guy.
No, yeah, I went on some EFT Twitch channel yesterday and said hi, and some random guy responds, "Mike is legendary in the DayZ community." I smiled. You know how hard that made me smile. I was looking at that screen with the cheesiest grin on my face ever.
And he's thinking that, and what I'm thinking is, oh my fucking God, we need to lift our game in the DayZ community. I couldn't
finally
resist,
getting
mate.
the recognition he deserves, and Boydie just shits all over it.
Hey, he played that fucking clip of me before, so I have to get him back somehow.
That was pretty embarrassing, to be fair. So now that you have your sensitivity and your DPI lowered, you're going to be a
PvP beast, you reckon, eh? Yeah.
Boydie's back. Boydie's back.
But no, thank you all so much. It's a pity Baby needs. He said his apologies, but he's come down with COVID yet again, the poor bugger. Project Lemon's got called into work, and JLK's just, well, I'll let you say it, Minder. He's a chicken.
Yeah, I mean, Josh. I mean, I don't know, man. I felt like he was, yeah. I think he was just like scared of the challenge, really. But
Yeah.
he agrees with the majority of what we're saying anyway. So I don't know why he. I don't know.
Yeah. But nah, definitely. I think this is something I'd like to do again. You know, when there's something that people would like to talk about, yeah, we'll look at getting some people in again. And I think this has been quite good, quite productive, quite showing that we can disagree without having to resort to name calling and except for that Scottish git.
Yeah, he's annoying. But yeah, no, get other people involved. You know, get the different perspectives of the community. This is definitely. And you know, and stick to a topic. And yeah, good.
I'd like to do one on base building.
Oof.
That's a divisive topic in this game, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll be in that one too.
I have
with our wall and our watchtower, we rule hard on console.
But no, thank you all so much, guys, and girl. This was good. This was really good. It went a lot better than I expected it would, and I can't thank you all enough. And had a lot of people watching, which was great to see as well. A lot of people were genuinely interested in it. Had one nice little comment on Reddit when I shared it there about, geez, I wish I had the spare time like you guys to debate this topic that no one cares about. And I was like, okay, dude, who's shitting your cornflakes? But yeah. More PvPers on the podcast talking about PvP balance would be great. I do want to get that as well, Agony. We do need to, yeah, not just adventurers.
No, I think we had a pretty decent mix. I think you generally want to get opposing sides to sort of like present their argument. I don't know if it immediately should be a debate. I would just feel like everyone should just be able to talk about what they believe and then sort of like respond to what people say.
Because everyone's talking about it from a place of love for the game. You know, you summed it up before, Minder. For a lot of us, we've stuck by this game through thick and thin, through the good times, through the bad times, and it's DayZ. We love the game.
All right, I'm going to have to go, everyone.
And I think we'll call it quits there. Say bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye,
guys.
Thank you.
See you guys.
See you later.
Thanks for watching. Like,
thanks for
subscribe,
sorting out, buddy.
hit the bell. Make sure you leave a comment for the algorithm, guys. Come on, think about it. Add it, send it to your friends.
Get a console loving.
Let's get this. You know, come on, everyone.
Do all that stuff that I always forget to tell people to do. Yeah. Subscribe and like and share and tweet and stuff. And make sure you go and check out all these people's channels as well, folks. Killbeans, Minder, Mike, Greedy Peasant, they've all got YouTube channels. I'll have some links in that if you're watching this video, so you can go check out their channels. Most of them stream. So yeah, check them out. All the best, and I'll see you for the next debate. Ciao for now.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you guys.